everyone, I am Sneha and this is day 16 of 30 days of building with Solidity. For everyone who has stumbled upon this video randomly, please go to a day 1 video where I talk about the campaign in detail, or head over to web3compass.xyz to know about the campaign. You can check out the challenge calendar entirely. If you think it's too late to get started, no, it's not. You can anytime hop on our Telegram community and get started. The community is pretty active and they will help you out. Okay, so today on day 16, we're going to write multiple contracts. Again, have patience, don't run away, just listening to the fact that we're going to write multiple contracts, and it's called PluginStore.Sol. We're going to talk about a new concept called delegate call. We'll see more of its detailed execution in day 17, where we talk about upgradability and all of that, and revise a few concepts that we have done before. As an example application, we're building a modular profile system for a Web3 game. The core contract stores each player's basic profile like name, avatar, but players can activate optional plugins to add extra features like achievements, inventory management, battle stats, or social interactions. Each plugin is a separate contract with its own logic, and the main contract uses delegate call to execute these plugin functions while keeping all of the data in the core profile. This allows developers to add or upgrade features without redeploying the main contract, just like installing new add-ons in a game. And you will learn how to use delegate call safely, manage execution context, and organize external logic in a modular way. Now, as of now, we've talked about a lot of concepts, from inheritance to ERC20s to writing pre-sale contracts, all of this. But now imagine that you're building a Web3 game, something with lore, battles, character progression, maybe even trading. So naturally, every profile will have their name, avatar, equipped weapons, achievements, social links, battle logs, all of that. Okay, whatever works, right? Now, here's the catch. If you try to cram all of that into a single smart contract, things get bloated really fast. You will hit storage limits, upgrade issues, and you will lose flexibility. So what if we modularize the whole thing? Instead of one gigantic contract, we build a lightweight core profile contract that just stores the names and avatar, and let users install optional feature plugins like smart contracts that handle specific things like achievements, inventory, battle stats, or social activity, right? Like mods for your player, plug and play on chain. But for that to work, the core contract needs to call those plugin contracts somehow. That's where the magic comes in. And with Solidity, our gateway to modularity, upgradability, and smart contract flexibility is through calls. Now, we've already talked about call, static call. The delegate call was the one that is still left. Now, I don't really remember in which of the days did we talk about call and static call. So you have to go through the previous videos to actually understand the concepts there. But just as part of a very quick revision here, call is the most common one where you're telling the another contract to do something. The contract uses its own state and its own storage, usually used for interacting with external systems like ERC20 token. So, hey, token contract, transfer 100 tokens to Sneha, right? Static call is just like call but read only. No storage changes are allowed, and great for view or pure functions, which is like, hey contract, just show me what is stored in the contract, right? But delegate call, this is the most clever one. You're borrowing logic from another contract, but you're returning or running it in your contract storage context. So meaning that the data lives in your contract, but the logic comes from somewhere else. It's like, hey contract, use your function to store this data. but store it in my storage, not yours. And this is how we build upgradable contracts, proxy patterns, etc. Very, very good for flexibility where you just want to make change on a certain thing and not go through the entire thing when you want to just upgrade or add some features or whatsoever, right? So in this, today actually, we're going to build multiple contracts where at the center of our game world is the plugin store, which is the core contract that stores each player's profile, just their name and avatar, simple, clean focus. But players in this world want more than just a name and a face. So they want achievements, weapons, badges, maybe even a clan system. So instead of bloating the core contract with all those features, we let player attach feature modules, what we call as plugins here. Each plugin will be a separate contract that handles a specific feature. And since plugins are modular, we can upgrade, replace, or add new ones at any time. No need to redeploy the entire system. Now, we will talk about a few achievements, weapon store, but you can add as many as you want, right? So in our plugin system, we will build achievements plugin. We will build a weapon store plugin. So achievement plugin will store the player's most recent achievement, and weapon store will store the weapon a player has equipped. Okay. These plugins don't run in isolation, so the plugin store calls them dynamically. For state-changing actions like setting a weapon, we use call. For any read-only queries like checking a player's achievement, we will use static call. And when we want to share storage, like with an upgradable system, we would even swap in a delegate call. But for now, call and static call keep things very simple and secure. So let's just get started with our core contract and go to remix and get started, right? So we'll quickly create a new file called plugin store.sol, right? Let me zoom in. I'm not sure how much of it is zoomed in. Haha. But anyway, let's just quickly copy this and come here, right? Think it's visible. Yeah, this should be fine, right? Now we're saying contract plugin store. Okay. Now what happens here, right? We've already mentioned a lot of time that we're talking about name and avatar for a player. So we will create a struct. Very simple to think of, right? Player profile. And we're saying, hey, string name, string avatar. Okay. Now what next, right? Like, we would need a mapping, right, where we are storing the player's profile with their individual addresses. So quickly writing mapping address, player profile, and we call it profiles, right? So we're saying public, sorry, I hope you've got used to this. Yeah, public profiles. So this mapping will connect each Ethereum address, like, of the player to their player profile. And we're saying, hey, what next? What are we looking at? So, I mean, for this section, if you call profile message.sender, it will store profile of the caller. But so next mapping would be what? A string with an address for a plugin where we're saying, hey, we want to use a mapping to register plugins by a string key, like achievements should tell us that we're talking about the achievement plugin, and weapons would tell us about, hey, we're talking about a weapon plugin. So let's do that. Mapping string and then address, and we're saying public plugins. Okay, great. So this is what we wanted, and this would be the plugin directory. Every plugin must be registered before it can be used. So that's all. We're not talking about any events here. We're not talking about any more stuff here. We just directly get to writing functions. So we're saying, let's just set a profile. Now, for profile, what is it that you need? You need a string, memory, and name, right? underscore. Yeah. And then we're saying string memory avatar. Okay. And then we're saying, hey, let this be external. We want everyone to call it. And we say profiles message.sender. And then we register the player profile underscore name and avatar. So this will let a player create or update the profiles by setting a name, setting an avatar, function set profile, again, publicly callable. Any player can set their profile. Message sender, you know what it means. Player profile underscore name avatar. We're creating a struct instance directly in line. And with profiles message.sender, we are assigning the struct to the caller's address in the mapping. That can help us write to the contract storage. Now, a very useful helper function, utility function. We're saying get profile. We just pass the address of the user, and we say, okay, let us make this view. And then we're saying returns string memory. Why? Because in profile, we just have two things, right? Name and avatar. So string avatar, right? Great. Oh, not avatar. We just want to specify the data type. So we're saying string memory and string memory, right? Now we're saying player profile memory because we want this to be a temporary storage. And we say profile equals to the profiles of the particular user. And then we say, hey, can you do one thing? Can you just return profile.name and profile.avatar? That's simple. So allows anyone to look up a player's profile using their wallet address, external view because the function does not change state, it's read only. We fetch the profile from storage and copy it to memory because again, writing to the storage is a costly function. And then we're saying return the name and avatar for display in a front end or a UI. Okay, simple. Now, what do we want to do? We want to register plugin section, right? So we're saying function register plugin. What do we provide? So we're going to talk about a key, right? Which becomes the name of it, and then address. Okay, which is plugin address. And we make it external. And then we say, hey, the plugin's key is equal to plugin address. Okay. Now, what is this doing? It will register a plugin contract with a human readable key like achievements or weapons. And then it will add the plugin to the system so that it can be used later. Okay. The address plugin address is the smart contract address for the plugin you are registering. Since we'll be writing it in different contracts, you can just put it there. And yeah, memory key is again name used to identify the plugin. Think of this as a URL, a plugin name, or whatsoever, right? Now, see, these are such cute little functions that we are writing. Now, the other one would be again a helper kind of function which says get plugin. You can just search it through the key, right? And then external view returns, and then we're saying address and return what? So return plugin's key. Okay, return the address of a plugin using its key. It's useful for UI tools or to verify whether a plugin is already registered. Now, the next one is where we're going to look at calls and we are writing a function for run plugin. Okay, so run plugin, and we're saying what is it that we need to provide? So we need to provide string memory key, okay, obviously. Then we'll provide a function signature. Now I'll tell you why, but let's just quickly write that first. Function signature. And then we're also saying address of the user because we want to run it for that particular user. And then there's an argument that we are passing. Okay. We're making it external and we're saying, hey, now what did we, okay, this is too zoomed in. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah. Oh, that's a big line, I think, already. Okay. So we're saying we want a state changing function call to call the plugin contract. This is where the real flexibility will happen. It lets you call any function on the plugin using its signature. So we'll retrieve the plugin address using the key like achievement. That is why we've given key. Now we'll check a few things here where we're saying, hey, wait, address plugin equals to what? Plugin key. Okay. Plugins key. So we are retrieving the plugin's address using the key, right? And then we're checking if require condition where we're saying, hey, is the plugin an address 0? Okay. It could be anything like plugin is not registered or something like that. So we're saying make sure that the plugin was actually registered, otherwise we abort the function. And then we move forward where we're dealing with something called encode with signature. We have not been using function signatures anywhere, but this is where we actually talk about it. So we say, hey, bytes memory data is equals to ABI.encode with signature, and it says signature string. So that would be the argument that we're talking about, which is the function signature, right? And then pass the argument. Right, we've taken two such parameters here. So we're saying with ABI.encode with signature, we're building a low-level function call from a string. And function signature generally looks like set achievement address comma string. So we combine it with the provided arguments like user argument to build raw bytecode. Okay. And then we will look at plugin.call data. So here we're not using delegate call. Instead, we're using dot call, and we've seen this before that every time we are doing a dot call, we had to provide certain value, but then here we are calling it with data. And then we are obviously when we're using dot call, we are checking if it has been a success, and we say great if the success happened, otherwise execution failed. Okay. Now what did we do here? So we did a low level call and sends the request to the plugin contract. The plugin executes its own storage context, not the plugin stores. And if the plugin failed due to invalid args or logic errors, the whole transaction reverts. Okay. So this allows plugin methods to write to state, like updating a player's weapon or achievement. And this is the data that we're sending. What is the issue here? This should be a require. That is how we're checking the statement and not a return. So the experiment will not work here, where I was just trying to, I was thinking if I missed a bool value section. So yeah, so this is run plugin. I hope that is clear on what we're trying to do here. Right? Now we will call a read-only function again. We just want to return the results and, look at the view part of it. I mean, not look at the view part of it, but yeah, it's called like a run plugin view. So I will show you what we're trying to do here. So we're saying, okay, yeah, string memory key, right? And then we're saying string memory function signature, right? And then we're saying, address user. Okay, that's it. And then we're saying, okay, we have to make it a view function. So external view returns and then string memory, because we're going to just return the result of, running this particular plugin or stuff, right? So now what we'll do is that we will first fetch the plugin just like we were doing before. So we're saying, okay, address. Actually, let me just copy this entire thing. Yeah, this. Okay, so we are checking if we're first fetching the plugin just like before, and we're checking if the plugin has been registered. Now, in the next line where we do something similar to bytes memory data thing that we have done before, where we are, doing the call, here we're going to say that, okay, API dot encode with signature, and then we'll pass two things here. Okay. One is the function signature. And because this time we do not really have the argument, we'll go with the user, right? Now what we do is we'll do a static call. So we'll use something called plugin.static call data. So unlike call, static call cannot change state. It's read only, right? So it's perfect for functions like get weapon or get achievement or whatsoever. So we say, okay, bool success, okay, and bytes memory result, because in the end we're trying to return result. Previously we just wanted if the particular thing is successful or not. That is why we said bool success and then require condition check. But here we want the result of it, and then we say, hey, plugin dot static call, okay, and then instead of a normal call, we're saying static call data because we want it to read only. We do require success, plugin failed, and then return. But instead of this, right, this is not how we're going to do it. We are going to decode it. So we say API.decode. We have used this previously where instead of getting the output when you're running it once you compile it and deploy it and you run it, instead of getting the result there, you will get it in the terminal in the decoded form. And we're saying, hey, result, comma, in string here. Okay. Now what happens here is that this will convert the returned bytes into a string so that we can return it to the caller. Now this function is amazing for front-end apps that want to fetch plugin data efficiently without any risk, right? So that's all that we're doing here. Compile, deploy, and see here, and then okay. So we want to set profile, Sneha. Avatar, I would go with caffeinated CEO because that's my ultimate aim, to be caffeinated and to become a CEO. So yeah. And then when you copy this address, that is the address from which I've done the deployment, and I paste it here and I say get profiles. It's at Sneha, caffeinated CEO, and then we can add plugins here. Okay, like plugin address. So we'll have to write it and then, add that all segments, but we look at the entire deployment here, but this is the main plugin contract. Okay, now we're going to quickly write two more contract, which is achievements plugin and then a weapons plugin. Okay, so let's go to the file section. I should have created the file then, but it's okay. We're saying achievements plugin.sol. I'm not sure if this part of the file would be visible to you, but then yeah, the name is achievement plugin.sol. So what I will do is, what was the name? Yeah, plugin store, right? So I'm saying, hey, I will just copy this, right? And we're saying, okay, let's just get started with this contract. So I'm saying contract achievement plugin, and we're saying okay, achievements. Cool. So now what do we need? We need an achievement string. So we will quickly do a mapping. address, string, public, latest achievement. Okay, right? And then we want to set achievement. So, I mean, we don't need a lot of things here. We're just keeping it very simple. So we'll directly jump into writing function set achievement, and we're saying, okay, we need the address of the user for whom we are setting the achievement. And then we want string memory achievement, which is what is written here. And yeah, we don't need an external here. We can just keep it public, right? Choice. And then we say, hey, the latest achievement of this particular user is equals to achievement. Yeah. That's all the cute work that you had to do here. Okay. So it's marked public, which means, you can automatically create a getter function and then just go about it. Very simple. For example, if you want to register an achievement called first kill or treasure hunter or whatever, so you can just register it in a very simple and direct way. And what else? Okay, I've explained address user, great string, latest achievement. Okay. So now why is it written like this is that the plugin store actually handles the access control. The function is intentionally left open so that the plugin can be reused anywhere. And we use a standard setup pattern so that the plugin store can delegate calls to it. Similarly, we will write a get achievement. It's also get achievement. Now this is going to be a return kind of function, right? Like view only, read only, whatever you want to call it. And we're saying, okay, so this will just, come on, the name itself suggests that we're just looking to get the achievement for the particular user. So we will say return a latest achievement of this user. Voila, that's it. That's all that we had to do. Read only function, return the string value from the mapping, and then simple lookup from the mapping, right? Now, why do you have to get a custom getter if there's like a public one? So it gives like more flexibility. For example, you could later add formatting combined with metadata, return multiple achievements. So this getter is explicitly defined for future proofing and clarity. And it's always nice to have these small little cute functions, right? So now what? Okay. Yeah. So I know some of you might be thinking that, hey, Sneha, you forgot to import that particular contract. How is it going to use it? I have it. I really have it. I'll show you how to do that. So once we deployed the previous one, I showed you this, right? Register plugin key and plugin address. So once you deploy the achievement plugin section, like once you compile it and deploy, you can just paste this address here and just go about it. Okay, I'll show you how. So I compile this. I go here. I'll close this one. This one, and I will deploy the achievement plugin, and I've got the address here, right? Everything is there. Set achievement, get achievement, latest achievement, blah, blah, blah. And what I do here is that I want to register the plugin. So I say, hey, achievements. I would call this achievements. And then I paste the address here. Transact. Ooh. Now, if you check for get plugin, and you put achievements, make sure you write the right spelling because I make a lot of spelling mistakes. See, this is the contract address that you're getting here, right? Now, if I copy this here, see, it's the same address, right? So we do not need an import here. I also didn't know that. I figured it out. Learning on the way. I'm just too happy here today because I've just recovered from my sickness. Yeah, it's a good feeling. Good feeling. Yes, guys. Now let's just quickly go and write another file. And I have to stop being dramatic. Yeah. So this one's called a weapon store plugin dot souls. Now please feel free to experiment as much as you want. I am really not sure if the zoomed in thing is zoomed in enough, but if you want to see, I'll show. Yeah, can you see? In the previous one, obviously, there were long lines of code, so you were not able to see it, but now I'll keep it this big. Okay. So we're saying, okay, it's time we write another contract. Again, a very cute little contract. Oh, a weapon store plugin. Okay. And yeah, so we want user and the weapon name, right? Like which is the weapon that they're looking, or which is the weapon they are, what is the word? Okay, whatever. Whichever weapon they have. So we'll do a mapping and we say, okay, there should be an address of the user and there should be a string. Now this mapping is going to talk about public equipped weapon. Okay? And then, yeah, that's it. We don't need anything else. We're making simple, cute little plugins. So we're saying we want to set the function, or like we want to have a function which sets weapon, which would set the user's current weapon, since the mapping is going to keep a track of which weapon each player has equipped, and the address represents a player, the string, blah, blah, blah. You know that, right? Now, we will say, okay, function set weapon. Okay? Simple. Now, what is the parameter that you're passing? Of course, address user and then the name of the weapon, which would be string memory or weapon, not weapon. Okay, public. And then we say, hey, there was a equipped weapon, user weapon. Simple. Nothing to do here, right? Like this plugin, is just going to update the currently equipped weapon for the player. Now, we would want, again, a getter function here. So we say function get weapon, right? Now, again, what are you passing? Obviously, address, right? Address of the user. And then we would just quickly do public view returns, and then what? String memory. And we're saying, hey, can you just return equipped weapon of the user here? That's it. That's the entire contract here, right? Nothing very fancy. You just simply look up from the mapping, even though a public getter exists, because of the mapping declaration, writing the function is explicitly helpful for clarity, future proofing if you want to format, and all of that. Now, how it fits into the plugin system is, let's say that the plugin store has plugin registered under the key weapon. Now, if a player wants to equip a new weapon, okay, so it's just going to do plugin store dot run plugin weapon set weapon address string message dot sender golden axe, right? It's like if you want to know the weapon that they're using, just run plugin view and all of it. Wait, I will just quickly show you, right? Where is the can we just close all of this previous ones? I'm so sorry, I'm just very bad at closing all tabs. I have literally 500 tabs open. And that is why my laptop never really works when it's required. Yeah. So when you're saying run plugin, right? So from there, how this thing will work is we're passing a key, we're passing a function signature, user, and a memory argument. So I'll show you how this thing will work is that if you want, the one thing that I explained right now is that if the plugin store wants to, equip a new weapon. Like if the user wants to equip a new weapon, this is how it will look like. Plugin store, okay, dot run plugin, okay. And you see what arguments. Weapon is the first key that we are passing. And then we're passing a function signature. If you see here, right, this is a function signature. So we will say set weapon. That means we're passing the function that we've written there. And we say address and we say string. Okay. And then we're saying address of the user, and then there's an argument. So I say message dot sender, and then we say, okay, the argument is a golden axe. That's it. That's how it's going to look like. That's how the call is going to perform, right? And if you want to do run plugin view, you have to give just the key, the function signature, and user. So we say weapon, get weapon, the address, and then user address. So it's like installing a moderator in your game, and this plugin becomes like a reusable piece of logic, okay? Now I'll just quickly deploy, not this, come on. Yeah. And I'll deploy this also. Now, with plugin store, I want to register this plugin as well. And I say, hey, let's call this weapons, right? And this is the address, transact, right? Now, if you want to run plugin, this is the value that I was telling you. So for example, I want to give key as weapons. Let's just see what did we give here. Yeah, weapons. And then we're saying we want to run this particular function signature thing, which is again a string. So we just copy this. Okay. The user would be the message.sender. So yeah, whatsoever. And then argument, I'm saying golden X. Oops. Why? Plugin execution failed. Okay, so literally an eternity later, we finally figured out what the error was. So I showed you certain things that were working fine, and remix misbehaving. That was not there in the video because yeah, it misbehaved for like 2 hours. But without just quickly repeating the entire thing, I'll just show you where we stopped and how proud I am of figuring this out 3-4 hours later, after like 2 cups of coffee and a lot of literally can't tell you. So we were stuck here. Okay, run plugin. But before that, wait. I will show you that all of this was working fine. Okay, it was our run plugin that was not working, and I'd already given you that, hey, you know what, this is how we're going to run the entire thing, blah blah blah. And that blah 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 was not working for me because I was copying this entire thing from here, right? Set weapon, address string, and then user address. Okay, I will again show you what the mistake was. Yeah. And then I was saying, let's say axe. Right now it should be a knife or a, I don't know, gun. So this will not work. Okay, now why? Because there is such a big mistake in this code that there's a space between address and string. Huh? No. Oh, I missed the S. So, see, it worked. So now the run plugin thing is working, and everything else was also working. Not set up the profile yet. Yeah, if I put this is empty. So I will just quickly, where's my set profile thing? Yeah, I had set it as Sneha. Caffeinated CEO. So now if I get profile, I'll get this, right? And plugins, if I give weapon call, all of this is working. So all of this should be fine. And so you should know this. When I suppose if I'm registering even the achievements plugin, right? Like I'm changing this to achievement. These silly little things can take a lot of your time, literally a lot. I had almost given up that this thing will not work today, but we're glad. So achievement, and then when you go to achievement and we're working at set achievement and you just copy this entire thing like I would do as a lazy person and paste it here. Although we don't need all of this memory achievement thing, we just need the data types, right? This is not required. So then you have to make sure that there should be no gaps here. First win. And then you transact and it should work, right? Similarly, you run for, no, you do run plugin view, right? So then you're saying achievement and make sure I've made a lot of mistakes with S and S without an S and all of that. And then I want to do get achievement because we're talking about an entirely read only thing and user address. So I copy it here, paste it here, and then I call. Oh, yeah, again. My God, I literally had a heart attack looking at this. That, oh my God, no more errors. What? Yeah, it worked. Yeah. So you have to be very careful with the spelling mistakes, the space mistakes, and all of that. Now, so everything's working fine. I hope you've just understood why are we looking at static call when it should be that we should use delegate call. It's a very complicated concept again, so you will need a lot more practice. Even I need a lot more practice, but we have just built is more than just a few contract. It's a pattern for building modular stuff, extensible systems, all of that. And yeah, so as a core idea, or what we actually built was we created a plugin store contract that acts as a hub for player profiles. It stores the basic name, avatar, but then it offloads the specialized features like achievements and weapons to plugin contract. And each plugin contract implements its own logic and data structures, but the main contract can talk to them using call, delegate call, and static call. Again, call is to trigger state changes in external contracts. Delegate call is when you want to put plugin logic, but to store data inside the main contract itself, not outside. And then static call is again for just efficient read-only queries. And why this matter again is every feature would, bloat a single contract if you're like writing a lot of things in a single contract, and then an upgrade would require redeployment, state migration, headaches. Again, this is when we're talking about production level dApps, not just side projects, because come on, like it's on testnet, redeploy, do as many times as you want. But with this plugin model, we can add new features as new contracts, upgrade plugins without touching the core contract, keep storage lean and logic clean, let players customize their experience, add as many things as you want. As in next steps, if you want to explore, you can use a friends plugin for managing player connections, battle log plugin to track history, token inventory plugin, blah, blah, blah. And if you're, literally up for some adventures, try swapping call for delegate call and keep all storage in plugin store. But be very careful because with great powers come great responsibility, and tricky storage layout tricks. But that's it for day 16, and I will see you on day 17. And please ignore the flickering light behind me. It's not a ghost, it's just the bad voltage. So yeah, I'll see you guys. Keep building.